Hey everyone, welcome back to our latest Cannabis in 5. I'm your host, Shad Dales. This podcast is presented by our good friends over at Dutchie. To learn more, if you're a dispensary owner, visit business.dutchie.com. Now, with regards to today's podcast, we're talking about a surprising turn from a very familiar voice in American politics. Who is it? Ben Shapiro. Yes, the conservative commentator, author, and founder of the Daily Wire. For years, Ben was firmly against cannabis reform, but now his tune has changed, and it could matter more than what you think. So let's break down what he used to believe, what's changed, and what this shift could mean for the cannabis industry. Let's first begin with who Ben Shapiro is. He's known for being sharp, direct, and he's an unapologetic conservative. For a long time, he sat firmly on the anti-cannabis camp. On social media, he once said, quote, "I used to be in favor of criminalizing marijuana," end quote. Why? Well, it came from a mix of skepticism about cannabis use, concerns over social impact, and a belief that the government should enforce certain moral standards. This was the classic conservative position. Marijuana was viewed as a problem to solve, not a market to grow. But now fast forward to more recent years, and Ben's position is starting to change. On a recent appearance with Joe Rogan, he admittedly opened, quote, saying, "I used to be a proponent of criminalization of marijuana. I'm no longer," end quote. That's not just a slight tweak, that's a 180 for someone with his audience. He pointed to two big reasons. First, he said the more he sees the government try to crack down, the more cannabis seems to thrive in spite of it. And second, he compared cannabis to alcohol and questioned why a substance with arguably less social harm is illegal while alcohol is completely legal. So if you follow Ben Shapiro for a while, the shift actually tracks with another part of his philosophy: limited government and personal responsibility. Even if his personal morals haven't changed much, his trust in the government's ability to fix cannabis use through prohibition, it has faded. And he's not wrong. Decades of cannabis prohibition have done little to stop use. So from a libertarian point of view, why not regulate it instead? So really, here's why this matters for the cannabis industry. Ben Shapiro is not a fringe voice. He speaks to millions of conservative Americans every single week. When someone like Ben begins to question cannabis prohibition, it chips away at the idea that this is only a liberal issue. It gives cannabis reform a foothold in conservative circles, and that matters for building the bipartisan support needed to move things like federal rescheduling or really banking reform forward. So let's fast forward to today and what Ben has said lately. While he hasn't come out saying, "I support full legalization," his language has clearly shifted. He's made it clear he doesn't see criminalization as the right approach. He questioned why adults who function in society should face criminal penalties for cannabis use. And he's recognized the inconsistency of treating alcohol as acceptable while demonizing marijuana. Now, that may sound like small points, but when they come from someone with his platform, they can have a big-time ripple effect. And that's what we're starting to see. More and more people getting involved in this conversation. This is what we want. Now, for that matter, let's speculate a bit. What might have influenced this change in perspective? Well, first off is data and experience. Seeing that prohibition hasn't reduced use, but regulation has created jobs and tax revenue in legal states. Then there's libertarian alignment. This fits with his view that the government should stay out of people's personal choices whenever possible. There's also shifting culture. Even among conservatives, cannabis stigma is fading, especially when compared to the opioid crisis. Let common sense prevail, like I always say. Now, for the cannabis industry, Shapiro's shift is an opportunity. Reform advocates can take his language, limited government, fairness, consistency, and use it in conversations with other conservatives. It's not about convincing everyone to love cannabis. It's about convincing them that prohibition makes no sense. And even if that helps reduce stigma and open more doors in Congress, let's face it, it is a win. But that doesn't mean laws will change tomorrow. Every time a high-profile figure from the right signals even partial support, the political math changes just a little. When rescheduling, safe banking, or state-level legalization bills come up, more lawmakers will feel comfortable voting yes if they know their voters and the influencers they follow are open to it. So really, here's the big picture. Ben Shapiro used to be firmly against cannabis reform. Now he's openly questioning prohibition and talking about cannabis in a way that aligns more with regulation than criminalization. For the cannabis industry, that's not just a curious headline, it's a signal that reform is becoming a mainstream conversation on both sides of the political aisle, and that is a good thing. That's a wrap for today. I'm Shad Dales. This has been the latest Cannabis in 5. Do you think more conservative voices will follow Shapiro's lead? And if so, which ones would have the biggest impact? Let us know by leaving your comments below. If you like this breakdown, then make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your day, and like I always say, stay open-minded, stay connected, and I'll see you next time on our latest Cannabis in 5. I'm your host, Shad Dales. See you next time.